Source and the first triangle of light, explaining creation. What is the source or the first triangle of light? Welcome everyone to the episode 24 of the Ambassador of Light podcast by the SANAT Kumara. Charles and Martina are here to discuss the purpose, composition, structure, and working of source and the first triangle of light. Martina, please give us the overview of source, first triangle of light, cosmoses, and universe.
So, source is all that exists. And another word for source is spirit. We are considering ourselves to live in a realm of time and space. So we would also say that source or spirits equals all that was, is, and will ever be. So in essence, source is pure existence. The first triangle of light brings this existence as a translator, so to speak, into the mode of creation. So it brings existence into creation, it sets creation into motion. And the first thing they create is a cosmos. And we'll come, I guess, to that in more details, but that is the basic setup. And inside a cosmos, we have a chain of successive universes.
Yeah, Martina, this is all new information. Thank you.
Dear, I'm pretty much aware that we all come from very different backgrounds when it comes to belief systems or spiritual education. And the fact alone that most of them limit existence and creation to a single universe is a huge challenge to overcome.
It is. It's a mind block.
And
So,
maybe
yeah,
at this point something to it.
Okay, please.
Our brain, the way our mind works, we love stability of information that gives us peace of mind. So whenever we are confronted with information that doesn't fit to the existing one, that creates instability, which in turn makes us say, I refuse that information, or I bluntly dismiss it, or even get aggressive. But it says nothing about the quality or truthfulness of information. It just says that my brain says it brings instability. So I'll encourage everyone to keep that in mind with what we present today and in the next couple of episodes.
Exactly. So we'll try and make our best effort to explain what is new information. So what is the difference between existence and creation, Martina?
Existence is everything that is in place in myriads of forms. And creation is to start a process of learning and experience. And we have the step in between, that is the first triangle of light, which is composed of the Creator, the Cosmic Mother, and the Divine Father. Also, please try not to relate that to your current belief system because they don't fit in.
Yes.
How does that work then? source as the basis of all that exists. From that, the creator derives a plan, what's going to be experienced and learned. It's the cosmic mother's role to find agreement between those who play roles in that learning and experience for that plan. And the divine father's role is to get everyone to put this into action. Well, when creation starts, of course, there's nobody. But we are far ahead down the road of creation, and that is, they create an infinity loop with that.
Yeah, true. Okay, so the idea of the creation and understanding that it's not just one universe and it's not just one cosmos is very important for people to bear in mind, especially when we talk about the creator, the divine mother, and cosmic father. Maybe a question to ask is, what cosmos are you talking about? And what universe are you talking about? And so on.
I know that currently we live in the 33rd universe of the 14th cosmos. That's where we all are now, learning, gathering experiences, growing.
Yes.
Now that seems overwhelming or maybe weird,
Yes.
but fortunately enough, the first triangle of light, they have given us a wonderful metaphor for this. And that is a lotus flower
Yes.
in a water body. So how does that work? Just picture the water body is source. All that was, is, and will ever be.
Yeah.
Out of that comes a stem with a pistil, and the pistil, which basically starts the flower to grow petals, that is the first triangle of light, the creator, the cosmic mother, and the divine father. And now come out the petals, and each petal equals a cosmos. And the larger the petal gets, the more universes, successive universes, come into existence. And once that learning purpose of a cosmos is complete, the leaf falls off, drops back into the water body, so back to source. And again, an infinity loop starts.
Yes.
And
That's
each of these petals, each of these cosmoses have a specific purpose of learning and experiencing. And all universes in a cosmos have, so to speak, a more specific purpose within that purpose.
yes, I think one word that has been used is like a fractal, something that we see in nature where you have repeating patterns that repeat over and over again, like when you see a leaf structure on maybe a tree, maybe a pine cone is an example where you have repeating leaves. Maybe it's the Romanesque uh, structure, or you see the shell structure where there is always this repeating pattern. And so that's the imprint that forms the universe. And once the learning and the purpose is done, then that universe closes down.
Yeah.
In the third dimension, we've never lifted our thought or understood that this is what the process of creation is all about. Never ending, always changing, something that we'd have to get used to as we progress. So, Martina, this zero cosmos was a prototype, as you described earlier, and the Earth belongs to the 14th cosmos created by the first triangle of light. So, creation unfolds, and there are multiples, but you say that we are now on the current, the 33rd universe. Anything more to say about this? What are you any time frames to say this goes beyond time even, right?
This is outside of time and space.
Exactly.
What is important to remember is just the image of the lotus flower which eats petal. And each petal starts with the creation of fractals. So the zero cosmos, the first, so to speak, prototype, the first triangle of light, meaning the creator, the cosmic mother, and the divine father created 33 fractals. In our current cosmos, the 14s, that started by putting 48 fractals into the void. So every time there is a starting point, and once, so to speak, the cosmos is complete, the purpose of learning and experience is complete, it returns to source, it enriches the source, and the next cosmos, the next leaves, can grow more complex. They can build, so to speak, on what has already been learned and experienced.
Yeah, thank you, Martina. We will get into more details next week's episode when we talk about Ambassador of Light, and those who are eager to learn more about what this chain of creation is and the different dimensions from the fifth that we're entering into up to the 56th dimension. This is published in a book that the SANAT Kumara Martina has just put out, The Time of Great Awakening. So we want to say a word before we move on?
Yes. So our dear audience, know Charles and Martina, but there are more in the team of the SANAT Kumara. And last year, he started to have an annual team book. And this year's team book in the series, The Time of the Great Awakening, is just out. It's 9 prayers and portals that help you to establish your existence on this planet firmly in the 5th dimension. So we are busy now to publish it, and by the time you listen to us, it will be published in English, German, and also in Russian and most likely French.
Great. Thank you, Martina. We're making every effort to reach everyone. We have put considerable effort to allow people who are outside of the Western countries, United States or Europe, to have access to our books. We discovered a website, selar.com, selar.com, where we're beginning to upload books. We have uploaded some books, and Martina will upload some books, and others will upload some books. So people in Africa, particularly, and other parts of the world that has not access will be able to read our materials and be able to pay for it in their own currency.
Yes, that is, you've reached out to us and say we have difficulties, so to speak, accessing the platforms you utilize so far. We take that very seriously. So word goes out now to all our friends living in Africa, only able to pay in local currency. Please check selar.com. Check for Charles' name, and you will find the first 4 books. More will be coming.
Yeah.
Finally, for today, we have a request for you, dear audience. We would like to grow closer to you, and we would like to start by asking you to drop us a comment in this video telling us from which city in the world you are listening. That would be very helpful for really tailoring what we do to your needs. We'll see you next week with more new information, and we'll challenge the library of your mind. We can assure you that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. I will see you next week. If your city is a small city, you could also put your country. That will be also helpful to us.
All right, dears.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.